so we'll call the meeting to order.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay,
How about approval of the minutes?
I make a motion.
Second.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay, that was February. Now we need to do March.
I make
okay.
a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Anybody opposed? Okay, great.
All right.
So here we are. Fran, can you just kind of read what's
The agenda,
next? Yes, thank you.
rooftop lighting. Were you able to find out anything? Well, actually, no, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Our first one is the introduction of the new staff liaison.
Yay.
I don't know, in case you guys don't know, Renee is no longer with the city. So, the staff liaisons for all the commissions have been reassigned. And, James is the director of Parks and Rec.
Hello, James.
Oh, hey, James.
Hi, James.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I started in January, the end of January. I used to be employed with the city of Webster as a rec manager for about 6 years, and I left and took a job with the city of St. Peters out of the Recplex as their superintendent. And when Scott got promoted, I was thrilled and applied, and I'm thrilled to be back in Webster and love it. So I'm grateful to be a part of this commission.
Cool.
A little bit closer.
Well, you'll have fun
You
with
feel
us.
like we're at the formal table. Now we can move on to rooftop lighting.
Okay, so I'll share what I know, because Renee had them put me as a main contact. And the gentleman, I can't think of his name right now.
Dan?
Dan, thank you. No, actually, it's not Dan, it's the actual guy that. Anyway,
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
matter. There's some people who are having questions on whether or not if they have to do this or not. And then are those that if they haven't signed up for yet or want to do it, then they're, are they to be footing the bill for the electrical? And then he's having some difficulty reaching, obviously, some of the landlords and such to be able to get up and do things. So he sent me a list of a few other questions. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but I couldn't remember how we handled people or that process in the past. Because we just did this and did it 100% beforehand, but
I thought we split it.
did we split it?
I
I
thought
thought that was the original we were going
thought-
to, but then to foot the bill initially.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I sort of thought that we split, like putting the lights on, and then the landlords would then absorb the cost because it wasn't that big of a deal.
The way I
Right.
remember it
Yeah.
is Mara sent a letter out to everybody, all the different building owners, and those who wanted to get in, were told that they would have to pay half. And then I think like Mara didn't get to it or to the billing for a long period of time. And we ended up just deciding in our meeting to just pay for the whole thing for that first round. Now, I don't know if that's a long-term sustainable float the whole thing. But anyway, that's how I thought it was supposed to be half, but we ended up paying all for these first rounds.
And then the monthly electric cost was on the property owner, but it's so
Correct.
small.
It is very small.
It is small. Yeah, that's what, I mean, we've got the money. I'm happy to also still split it with people. I mean, I just think if we can finally ever get this done, it would look really nice.
Well, and that's the thing, he's having to,
Beg people to do it.
and he's the guy that just puts them on, that's the thing.
And I think that was on us. Mara did all of that. The city at least did all of that for us before, reached out to everybody. And it seems like it's probably how it should still be, and let these guys install and repair.
So can business owners say no?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so then we're okay with having a break in some of the properties then, right?
It's
And
one of those, of course we are, but it's one of those things that I wonder if it was presented, if we could sort of say, we're gonna pay for half of it and this is how it's gonna be done, as opposed to this poor guy just walking in the door saying, I'm just here to do this, if we might get more people to do it. And we could just go on and let him get with everybody who's receptive. And if there's people that said no, then we could maybe circle back with them later.
how about we take it on the city or ourselves, decide who looks like they still need it? I mean, is there my whole section is good when DD Now is fixed. I'm sure they'll do it. Other than that, there's the section between Holland and everybody and up really back up to Frisco, let's say.
Yeah, I'd have to.
Has
yeah.
nobody in there done it?
I'd have to go one evening and kind of look at it to see, you know, who has lights and then are they even on? Because I also think that that's been a problem as well. Some of them have lights, but then have gotten disconnected and just haven't made it a priority to fix it again.
I'll take a look also.
He
And I
did go around and try to start doing exactly this. Let me read that email and I'll forward it to you guys on everybody, so you can see what some of the concerns were, questions or anything were. So then maybe some of these questions already answered. And then I asked Pam, because they were emailing me who to send the bill to. So because since Renee is gone, I guess that was his main contact and sending things there. So I got that answered for them. So I'll send that email out to everybody and we can kind of just communicate on that, on maybe who wants to take what and where. And then that way we can see if we can just put this thing to bed, man. It's getting long and done.
I mean, it's gonna be an ongoing thing, right? The constant maintenance, the maintenance on these is gonna be a lot. And these guys are even getting into changing light bulbs. You know,
Yes,
which is, we're paying probably somebody $120 an hour to change light bulbs. So just keep that in mind for future generations of this council. I don't know if that'll be anybody here that's on this call right now, but he was up there changing light bulbs. I've changed my old light bulbs in the past, but now that I got a guy to do it, sure, change the light bulbs. But you know, it's an expensive light bulb changer.
it is. And I know that he even mentioned that maybe it should go to or suggest tube lighting of some sort. So there are no bulbs.
Okay.
So I'm stick in this corner and see if it's a little better. So you don't keep hearing that door. Sorry.
We can't hear anything on our
Okay.
end, so don't
Okay.
worry about anything over here.
Okay. All right, well, I'll send that out to you guys and we can just kind of communicate from there what we think we need to do.
Excellent.
Okay. What's next on the agenda?
The annual report to council, which is on the 6th, you're presenting, is that correct?
I had to wrestle Angel and Holland to let me read it.
Ah.
And so they let me have the privilege of reading it next Tuesday at 6:30.
Godspeed.
Yeah. Hmm.
I have a document that I'm gonna read. Last year I just stood up and read it. I have so much more I want to say, but I think I have everything just typed out. I just read what's on that document. Okay. Okay.
So it sounds like that's all set.
Yep.
I have complete confidence.
Thank you.
Okay, next Angel is talking about the frequency of these meetings.
Yes, and
Alternating with the other crazy committee.
well, so I don't know if we'll recap this. So since the other organization has now been established and is going to be taking all of the social events away from this current organization, I don't know, and my opinion is that we do not need to have these meetings this often, once a month, because we are now running into having quorum issues, and until there is enough people, we might as well change the meeting schedule. In changing the meeting schedule, that would also allow us to start meeting with the other organization. And potentially maybe we should alternate or do once a quarter, or so it was gonna go out for discussion. I was kind of hoping to have a little bit of Pam's input. Is she on?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
expecting her.
I talked to her yesterday and she
Okay.
said, I will be there on Zoom.
Okay, well, I don't, until we get more people on the board, we're gonna be fighting it anyway if we decide to go on to quarter right now. But what is everybody's thoughts? What are everyone's thoughts?
First off, I talked about this exact thing with Pam yesterday. I think just from all of our discussions, we all feel like, first off, now that we've split this into basically almost an infrastructure group and a trade group, the people that are volunteering and giving their time to it the trade stuff is more time consuming and is the stuff that directly impacts their businesses. And the OOSBD is now really just an infrastructure group, which bigger than this conversation, I have to throw in that it seems like that's a city responsibility and not a bunch of volunteers who are struggling to keep retail and their businesses going. And they can't get anybody to do it. So my vote, it would be to do this as bare minimum as possible. And for the votes, we can let them build up then, bike racks, banners, flowers. Is there anything else that this group does? Lights, rooftop lighting. We can talk about rooftop lighting for an hour every, once a month for the next.
The new
For
project
eternity.
Oh my
you talked
God.
about was the signage at the north side parking lot.
So there's some signage and things like that, infrastructure things that I've brought up. So there are some good ones. I've met with Sinan Apaslan at the city about some of those. And so there are those signage and infrastructure items. Once again, I don't understand why those fall on the district and not on the city themselves, but that's bigger than our group. So I'm up for doing this as minimal as possible. Once a quarter sounds good to me.
And then we can always call one, because I know budgetary, we need, those kind of things are gonna be, that means we're gonna be discussing a budget way early. In theory, right? But we can always call a meeting or have an extra one to make sure we get the budget and all that kind of fun stuff taken care of for the city. And the other piece to that is if any of those special events that get brought to us for approval, I guess will just have to be routed via email to let us know or to approve, or
Are you talking about at the MBAOO when
The
it
special activity
proposes-
permits
the special activities like.
and other groups, like when there's a run
Mhm.
or
Got
that could
it.
impact the business district, or they want to close a street, that has to be,
voted on?
well, they
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
input. The city wants input. They make the decision, but they want the input.
So, I mean, kind of as long as we're committed to doing those now, and do we have, John, in your discussion with Pam, do we have to get permission for this, or we can just vote and say we want to do this and then submit it?
I didn't pick up on that.
Okay.
We've been talking about it for a couple months now. I believe from Franz was
Yeah.
digging into that for us.
According to what I discovered in my research, it's up to the commission.
Okay,
And maybe, maybe there's a way, if people are looking for permits and there is something that we need to make sure like that we need to address, is there a way to address it? If something comes, if we're only meeting once a quarter,
You could just call a special meeting,
a special meeting,
mhm.
which can be all Zoom if you need to.
right? Or it could be dinner at a
Dinner
restaurant.
at Frisco. I like those.
Yeah.
Is once a quarter seem too extreme, or is that,
I
I
think,
believe
No,
what
I
we're-
think it's, I mean, I think it's fair.
yeah, I think, and if there is something that we have to jump on, that necessitates something like this, that we figure out a time or something like that, but I think it sounds very reasonable.
Good, and I think that's gonna help me get us a couple more people on because
Yeah.
the time commitment will be less. And those couple people then in the quarterly ones, if any of our current 4 do have challenges getting to it, then we'll have other people who can make sure we still have our quorum. Might allow a couple of us to retire also. So yeah, we have to, how do we vote on that?
Yeah.
I make a
Typical-
motion.
Second,
Wait a minute, who was that?
Katie, I second it.
A motion to vote on it?
I make a motion.
Holland,
that we
I'm
meet-
sorry, Katie and Holland sounded the same. Who was it that made the motion?
Holland made a motion that we meet quarterly.
And who's gonna second it?
I seconded Katie.
Can I bring up
Um,
what months do we want, what
That's-
quarters? Do we want to just want to do the first, second, third, fourth quarter? Do we want to do Jan 15,
April.
April 15? Do you want to do the 1st or the 15th, or how do we want to do that? Second
Well-
Tuesday of the month still?
Yeah, let's
would be
not
good.
change that piece. I wouldn't.
Okay,
Um,
so Jan, April, July, October.
yeah, I was gonna say, I was just thinking we need to make sure that whatever our fall one is, that allows us Christmas.
Yeah, plenty of time, but we always are talking about Christmas even in
Yeah.
July sometimes.
Yeah. So we're doing, well, if we're going October, we'd be okay, yeah.
And we might have to call a special in November
Yeah.
or December to start on budget, because budget usually takes a couple meetings.
Yeah,
You might have to do one in January and February
Right.
for budget. Okay,
So
we
what-
need to call for the vote unless there's more discussion.
so what are we in now? Wait, we're in, what month is this? Are we switching it now or is this gonna?
This is the May meeting.
Yeah,
today.
it's the May meeting. Okay, so our next one, if we're going, are we flipping this quarter now?
It would be July 15th.
Okay,
No. Actually, July 8th.
okay, all right. So I'm just making sure that we're gonna be ready to, that everything's gonna be in the minutes on when we're gonna start the next. So is there any other discussion? So all those in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, so we are switching to quarterly meetings with, special meetings will be called as necessary.
Correct.
Awesome.
Just so everybody knows, I saw Joe Fichter at the gym the other day and I asked him to come out of retirement.
And what did he say?
He walked away.
So,
I do want to be, I don't know if this is the time for it. I want to talk about the MBAOO and getting that up off the ground, what our next steps are for that. I'm not sure if we can talk about that in this meeting. Probably not, but
It's a good
I
question.
think the officers just need to get together and then finalize all the insurance and
bylaws.
bylaws, insurance, set the dates for the meetings, and then look at who participated in that brochure to pull from our members, and then start setting meetings
Yeah.
from there.
Bylaws, insurance, meetings.
I'm sorry.
Yep. And then,
Wow.
because our membership comes from whoever did that brochure, and then we can go get more, because those people are already members.
Now, for this particular board, the one that we're currently sitting in, it has to be owner or manager or something like that. For the new board, can it be any employee at that, or does it also have to fall under that?
I think that's something we just answer in the bylaws. I
Okay,
would
Yeah.
assume we get to establish that. So I think a
Alright.
representative from,
a business,
because-
I think, yeah, if we can make it not owner or manager, then I think we're gonna get potentially a lot more people.
yeah.
Sorry, I missed some of that. Are we having an MBA, separate meeting?
So I'll maybe email out to this group here. I don't know if I have Katie's contact information, but I know I have Angels and Hollins, now that I know how to spell Holland's name. And I can set up a meeting. And we can get started on that. And I have people who want to join. I have people that want to, I believe, want to join this. So I'll work on both of those.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll figure out a time for that. Sorry to interrupt, do we have much left on the agenda, Fran?
No, not really.
Okay, because I'm gonna need to go.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get that. I don't think I think it's just the officers right now, John, to get the other little things tied up before we reach out to the whole group who are members.
So
Okay.
one minor note before we move on and get this thing over with. I talked to Pam about the funding. The funding would come out of, she brought it to city council and the city was like, oh, well, they have tons of money in their reserves. And I believe that we were just thinking about funding it from this group's, I think we have 160 or 180,000. This is where we talked about funding it from. And
I think that's in your proposal or whatever, that we would be shifting like 60 grand or something over.
yeah, and I told her that the intention is for this to be a break-even project, that this is just money to get it off the ground. And that we've been looking to make this thing break even, so. The only other thing I have maybe is in new business is the signage around the area for parking and things like that, but I don't know if we can just do that another time, or I'm working with Sinan. I don't know if we start talking about it and working on it, if we can make it happen quicker. Parking's the backbone to really everything, but that's a longer story if anybody wants to hear my opinion on that. Fran, is now the time for that, or is
Well,
Angel's
she-
gotta go?
She's gotta
Yeah,
go.
so
I'm sorry.
Don't
Okay.
No,
apologize.
you take care of what you need to do.
Yeah, John, if we get the further on that, can you just send an email about it if we need to weigh in about something?
yeah.
I think positive thoughts, Angel.
Thank you very much. So I guess I can just cut out and we'll adjourn, or we can say anybody motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yes.
Okay, second. Anybody opposed? Thank you very much.
Okay, take
Okay.
care.
Okay, bye.